Kansas City Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards Helaire has opened up about the real reason behind his absences from practice. Revealing his struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, on his X account, he shared the toll it has taken on his life and career. "Sometimes I'm admitted into the hospital, throwing up uncontrollably, and it's really just mentally not being there," Edwards Helaire, the Chiefs' 2020 first-round pick, explained. He pinpointed December 22, 2018, as the onset of his PTSD, when a self-defense situation during his college years at LSU left a lasting impact. "My first few years, I tried to block everything out, thinking I'd eventually get over it," he said. "But you realize that just doesn't happen. Everyone needs help at some point, regardless of age, person, or situation. It takes courage to talk about it." How has this affected his game, and what can we learn from his journey? Let's dive into Clyde Edwards Helaire's story. From time to time during his 4 seasons with the Kansas City Chiefs, and as recently as earlier in training camp, running back Clyde Edwards Helaire has missed practice time because of what the Chiefs called an illness. Edwards Helaire recently posted on his X account the reason for his absences is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and talked Thursday about his experiences. "Sometimes I'm admitted into the hospital, something like, I can't stop throwing up and it's just, I don't know anything pretty much to stop it," said Edwards Helaire, the Chiefs' first-round draft pick in 2020. "Real bad dehydration, but it's really just mentally just not being there." It is one of those things where early on guys who kind of pay attention, like Kadarius Toney, at times they'll know ahead of time, like, okay, Clyde's not laughing, he's not giggling, he's not himself. Edwards Helaire pinpointed December 22, 2018 as the onset of his PTSD, mentioning only that he and a friend were in a self-defense situation. At the time, Edwards Helaire was a college student at LSU. On that date, 2 LSU football players were attempting to sell an electronic item when one of them fatally shot an 18-year-old man who tried to rob them, according to Baton Rouge police. While the police did not identify the players, the Associated Press reported that Edwards Helaire was one of them. "I would say that's probably where a majority of things stem from," said Edwards Helaire, 25. "I wouldn't necessarily say everything stemmed from that. I have best friends that passed away at young ages from gun violence, and just not being in the right places at the right time, and just knowing that I have people that are close to me or around me who could be in the same spots that I am." Edwards Helaire revealed his PTSD publicly for the first time with his post on X. "My first few years, I tried to block everything out, thinking I'd eventually get over it," Edwards Helaire said. "But you realize that just doesn't happen. As you get older, you understand that everyone needs help at some point, regardless of age, person, or situation. It takes courage to talk about it, and dealing with PTSD isn't something I always want to discuss, especially once it's brought up. I never really know how my body will react or my mind. It is just something that I can't really pinpoint or know exactly what's going to happen. I feel like talking is a big thing, but it is just getting over that hump personally, being able to know that honestly, just everybody goes through things good and bad. It's a stepping stone. I'm just 25 years old and trying to live the rest of my life healthy." More news. Patriots Matthew Judon meets with coach Jerod Mayo amid contract dispute. New England Patriots coach Jerod Mayo described a great meeting with outside linebacker Matthew Judon, who had expressed dissatisfaction, and said they are moving forward with Judon participating in practice on Thursday. Mayo acknowledged the challenge.
This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report on PTSD. D is a problem for Clyde Edwards Helaire. He stated Universal in the video that you don't just get over PTSD. If you did, or if you just got over problems, we probably wouldn't have psychologists. As you have learned, certainly don't just glance over PTSD. Sometimes he admitted he would miss practice, and the Chiefs would just say it's due to an illness. But Helaire came forward and said it's due to vomiting syndrome and PTSD. Mentally, a lot of times it seems like Helaire is just not there. Can certain teammates tell when Clyde Edwards Helaire hasn't having a good day? Travis Kelce and Kadarius Toney used to pay attention that Kadarius Toney is no longer a Chief. On the side of PTSD, self-defense, where he had a good friend die in a gun shooting Helaire did, and you wonder how much that took effect on him. It takes big communication. It is always important to communicate with your care team. He is just trying to stay healthy. He is a 25-year-old young guy. Now, on to me for the priest. He would always give me flashbacks, and sometimes ever that happens, and I would wonder why he couldn't go to the church after retiring. I never thought much of it, but as I more paid attention to it, he asked many inappropriate questions, and he would ask me more inappropriate questions. He certainly asked many inappropriate questions, and unknown whether he touched me or not. Certainly coming to get me in my dreams or following me. It was one of my first onsets of schizoaffective disorder. Although it is an instance that many, unfortunately, with him. One thing I do know he would brag about, such as having sex with a woman, and I knew that he wasn't supposed to do that at the time. Never thought anything of why he couldn't go to church, but he always told me that. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report on Sam's Vaughn Mental Health Day. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what are flashbacks? Now, when I refer to flashbacks, I'm referring to the symptom we see in post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It's not always seen in PTSD, but it's a potential symptom. And when we look at the definition of PTSD, we can divide the symptoms into 5 categories: a qualifying trauma, intrusive symptoms, avoidance symptoms, negative mood, and arousal and reactivity. Flashbacks would be part of intrusive symptoms, otherwise known as intrusion.
In football, the Dolphins are favored by 2.5. However, Josh Allen is 11-2 versus the Dolphins. Dolphins beat the Jaguars, and the Bills came back against the Cardinals. Tua Tagovailoa was one of the reasons that the Dolphins won. Tua Tagovailoa was definitely one of the reasons why the Dolphins beat the Jags. The Bills are definitely not what they used to be at the receiver position, whereas the Dolphins have 2 of the best receivers in football, Tyreek Hill and Justin Waddle. Miami could be out with their first 2 backs, Jeff Wilson and Jalen Wright, suffering an injury back in their game last week. Devontae has 3 career touchdowns per carry, 8.72. His not beginning in his lineup would be a good thing for the Buffalo Bills. Jalen Ramsey at the cornerback position is the best player on the Dolphins defense. Ed Oliver was non-existent in his game against the Cardinals, but he is a good player. Hopefully he gets it back. Now on to baseball. 7:15 Prime Video. Dolphins a host. The Royals lose 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. A day off today. We'll go through that game tomorrow. Cardinals and Reds. 12:15, so about to start here now. Jacob Junis will go for the Brewers, former Royal, and Sonny Gray will go for the Cardinals. Game time again, set 12:15. And everybody else is off in baseball. The Cubs take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. That's baseball, and that's Sam on Sports.